Hey there, fellow time travelers. Welcome back to the channel. And for those of you that haven't been here before, my name is Jeffrey, and you've just stumbled across the corner of YouTube where my obsession with Back to the Future knows no bounds. As many of you longtime subscribers know, Back to the Future isn't just a movie series that I enjoy. It's been a lifelong passion that has taken me on some pretty incredible journeys. From attending the Broadway musical where I actually got to meet the legendary composer Alan Silvestri himself, to spending an unforgettable night at the Universal Studios Fan Fest event on the actual Hill Valley set where I stumbled across co-creator Bob Gale. My collection has grown over the years to include everything from screen-accurate prop replicas to Funko Pop and even Lego. I've even been fortunate enough to visit private collectors who own original vehicles and props from the films. Standing next to the actual DeLorean and Marty's Toyota pickup from the movies was a dream come true moment. But today is extra special because I've managed to track down some pieces that I've wanted for quite some time, and they just arrived, so my collection's about to grow. So grab your Pepsi Perfect, foreshadowing, set your time circuits to today's date, and let's get ready to unbox some serious, heavy-duty Back to the Future treasures. That's a lot of stuff. Let me separate some of this so you guys can actually see me here. So I got a lot of things that came in. This one I actually picked up though at a store, so it wasn't actually mailed to me. But I'll show you that real quick, and then we'll actually break into some of these boxes of things I have here. As you probably already saw, I do have a Back to the Future movie poster on my wall in the office. And I'm going to frame this one up too. And it's the Enchantment Under the Sea Dance. So that's going to be a nice little one to have up there. I like movie props and memorabilia that aren't necessarily as easily noticeable per se, in the sense that, you know, everyone knows the Back to the Future DeLorean, but not everyone necessarily knows the book that George McFly wrote. So let's go on to another one here. I know what's in this one. I know what I ordered, but I don't know what's in each of these boxes. So I'm going to start with this one since I know what's in here. And this is actually something that's not going to go on a shelf. It is going to go on my keys. Look at that. I've got Biff's Automotive Detailing, a little keychain from his auto detail shop. And I keep my keys pretty tight. I don't put too much on there, but I've got to put this on there. There's no way I can't have Biff's Auto Detailing on my keys. Oh, look at that. All right, what to open next? So, part of me wants to go straight for the big box. And the one that says Fragile is also calling to me. So I'm going to go completely against what I feel I should, and I'm going to go with the smaller, plain box right here. So let's move Fragile up here on top of the big guy. And let's see what we got here. So I've been a huge fan of Back to the Future, essentially my whole life. It's absolutely my favorite movie series, which actually started my collecting. I think the first thing I actually got as a collection was Back to the Future DeLorean that's on my shelf upstairs, and it just kind of blew up from there with everything else I've got in that office. All right. All right, I have wanted one of these for so long, and I just never got around to pulling the trigger and buying one. Oh, but this is going to be so great to have upstairs in my office. And I finally got a flux capacitor. Oh man, I've seen these online several times since they originally came out, and it's always going for quite a bit. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. But I was like, it's only going to get worse. So I got my own flux capacitor. Oh my God, I'm definitely going to have to hook that up very, very soon and do a follow-up little to show you it's all plugged in and lit up with, I think it takes batteries. Yeah, through 3 AA batteries. Woo! I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I love that. Okay, so we're just gonna go top down and start with this fragile guy right here. Okay. Knowing this says fragile, I have an idea of what is in this box. And if you actually paid attention to the intro, foreshadowing, you might know what's about to come out of here too. This is something else that, if it's what I think it is, this is something else that, to add to the collection, not everyone's necessarily going to notice what it is immediately. You probably need to know the movie a little bit more. It's not like the DeLorean, it's not like the flux capacitor where everybody knows what that is. But again, it's also been on my list for a very long time. There's a little note in here too, thanking me for my purchase. You are very welcome. Okay. Please, please, please live up to the expectations that I built in my head. All right, let's turn this way so I can pull it out here. Oh goodness. Pull this out this direction. All right. Now, this is something that is going to go on a shelf, and it's not going to stay in this box because this is going to be in my collection. I'm not using it just to save up money or save up its value and sell later. Okay. For those of you that are quite familiar with Back to the Future 2, you can already see that it says Pepsi on the side of the box. So you already know what's coming. And that is when Pepsi actually released Pepsi Perfect. I wanted one of these for so long. Oh gosh, that's beautiful. These were made several years ago, so the Pepsi in here is probably not good, so I'm not going to drink the Pepsi. Oh, but just to be able to say I have this bottle finally in my collection. This is from the scene in Back to the Future where he goes to the cafe, when he's supposed to be there to meet his son and take his place to talk to Griff, and has the 2 TVs arguing, and he's just like, hey, I just want a Pepsi. And this sucker just right out of the table. This is something I've wanted for so long. Because I like the obscure stuff. If you don't realize what this is and that it's from Back to the Future 2, you might just think it's a bottle of Pepsi that looks a little different. It's a little unique, you know, whatever. But no, this is Pepsi Perfect from Back to the Future 2 from 2015, which I think is actually when they made these and released them. It might have been earlier than that, I don't recall. But I'm very, very, very happy to have that. All right, one more box. And funnily enough, this actually has 2 things inside of it. Found somebody on Etsy that recreated some of these props, because one of these props that I wanted, this is actually going to be a 3D printed version, because to get a real one is way outside of my price range. And they made a toy of it at one time. And to get that toy people are selling it for quite a bit too, so it's really, really hard to get a hold of it. But, oh, here we go. Just from the size of it alone, some of you might know what I'm looking at here. Put that right over there. Okay. Now you get the fun of unwrapping all of it, and it slowly reveals my very own Mr. Fusion. Look at that. It pops open just like the Mr. Fusion does. Like I said, this is somebody on Etsy who's been 3D printing them. So this is a design he has and prints it up for you. And while you're up close looking at it, you can tell that it's 3D printed. but it doesn't make me love it any less. I've wanted a Mr. Fusion almost, if not longer than I wanted a Pepsi Perfect. Because I mean, I think this is what everyone kind of goes to when they get into Back to the Future. They want a Mr. Fusion, whereas I typically go for some of the more obscure stuff, but I still wanted one of these, and gosh, to have this actually in my collection now. I have so much stuff, I don't know where to put everything. I've literally got stuff sitting on my floor right now and got to figure out where to put this. But this Mr. Fusion comes with something else inside. All right, so I have this little glass right here, right? What's that? Don't know. What's that? Well, with this little extra piece, it might become a little more understood for those that really love Back to the Future. So like I said, go for some of the more obscure stuff. This is the plutonium from Back to the Future 1 that he slides around and puts into, before he has the Mr. Fusion, puts back here into the reactor to actually make it go travel through time. Now, what's very interesting is it's actually built. If you remember, he turns this and this just kind of disappears through there as it goes into the DeLorean. Well, this guy's built it to, if you rotate it, so you could actually recreate that moment if you were so inclined. But oh my God, that is so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I have an addiction with this stuff. I really do, and I love it. So there you have it. The latest pieces to my ever-growing Back to the Future collection. I've got my Biff's keychain, I finally have a flux capacitor, Mr. Fusion, Pepsi Perfect, and some plutonium if I ever happen to get a DeLorean. So, yeah, I wonder what I'm going to get next. But this definitely brings out the kid in me. So that makes me wonder, is there any piece of memorabilia, prop, toy that has been on your list for a long time from Back to the Future or any other, IP? What is something that's been on your list that you just wanted to get for a long time? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know if you liked seeing this, because I'm sure I'll have more stuff that I add to the collection at some point that I can show you if you want. So we'll see you next time.